Hi everyone, my name is Paige Abbott and I'm a registered psychologist in the province of Alberta. This is a friendly reminder that self-help, whether that's through videos, studying, workshops, things like that, are not a substitute to professional treatment. If you are having any symptoms of mental health or addiction issues, I would strongly encourage you to visit a healthcare practitioner in your area so that you can get proper assessment and treatment. I'm really excited that you joined me here today. I wanted to get my YouTube channel off to a start by talking about a topic that I've been discussing on my Instagram account, which is at Sana_psych, and that is the topic of empathy. It's something that people commonly struggle with, I find, and have a lot of questions about. So I'm going to do my best to provide some information for you here today. And certainly it's a topic that I know I'll revisit in the future, and maybe not so far down the road. The starting off point is, what is empathy? Well, the long and the short of it is that empathy is a really helpful relationship building skill. Empathy allows us to convey our listening and our understanding of somebody's experience to them, which can really help to deepen the intimacy and the quality of our relationships. This can be personal relationships, and it can also be professional relationships. A lack of empathy can really promote a lack of intimacy. So relationships may feel okay, but typically they will end up being pretty superficial. So it's really hard without empathy to get to a deep level of connection and understanding with the person that we're connecting with. Empathy basically looks like reflecting back what we are hearing somebody say. So with empathy, we're not trying to agree with the other person. We're not trying to take on the feelings of the other person. We are not trying to do anything other than understand what that human being in front of us is thinking and feeling at that moment. So we really are trying to, from what they are saying, verbally as well as non-verbally, gather information and understanding about who they are and what they are thinking and feeling at that moment. Some tools that can help to engage in an empathetic dialogue. One is active listening. So not listening to speak or listening to have a response ready, and not even listening to educate or inform or provide them with information. We're truly listening to hear what is the message that they're trying to convey to us. What is this person trying to say? And if we can start to identify how come that's important to them, that can take us to a deeper level of intimacy and understanding. How do we convey that we're actively listening? We can use nonverbals. So we want to show that we're active and we're engaged in the conversation. If I'm sitting distracted, not paying attention, barely looking in the direction of the other person, if my body language is quite closed, these are all signs that I'm really not engaged. So those are not the basis of active listening and an empathetic communication. What I do want to show is that I'm facing the person, I'm open, I'm looking at them, I'm not necessarily staring at them intently, but I'm looking at them appropriately to also try and see what is their body language telling me about how they are thinking and feeling. So someone may be saying something, but often our body will tell us kind of what's really going on. So someone may be saying they're okay with something and they're accepting of something, but their body language is showing they're tense, they're upset, they're shut down, they're reserved. This is something that we can follow up on. So the verbal parts of empathy, we want to reflect back what we're hearing. So that can sound as simple as, I hear that you're upset. I hear that you're confused. We can also throw in our observations. It looks like you're really having a hard time right now. What I'm understanding is that you're struggling with XYZ situation. Is that what I'm hearing? Checking in, making sure that we're on the same page and that we're having the same dialogue with that person. That way we can catch any misunderstandings earlier on in the conversation. Now with empathy, we definitely can share our own thoughts and feelings and perspective, but we have to be mindful of when we're doing that and for what purpose. If we're sharing our own thoughts and feelings to try and convince somebody that they should feel differently or that they should do something differently, then it's probably best to just pull back into that listener mode. But if we're sharing to deepen the quality of connection and actually bring the relationship to a more empathetic and more intimate level, then it can be appropriate to bring in the I am feeling, or I've had a similar experience, or this is what your sharing brought to mind for me, and then sharing. And when in doubt, ask the other person. So ask, are you willing to hear my perspective? Are you willing to hear some feedback? Would it be okay if I shared something that happened to me with you? All of these are tools where we're engaged in the conversation, we're checking in. What is the value of empathy? As I said earlier, it really helps us to deepen our quality of connection and intimacy. And ultimately, as human beings, that is what we are most interested in. We want to have connection. Our brains at times may tell us otherwise, but at root, that's what we all yearn for, and that's what we all need to be healthy and whole. Many people would say that the world needs more empathy, and I would strongly agree that it's very easy to get caught up in going through life with judgment and with criticism and with negativity, bringing empathy into the mix, even with strangers, just to try and identify where they are at and get to know them as a human being, rather than view them as an obstacle to overcome, would bring so much change into the world. So just remember that empathy starts with you, and I would encourage you to look at something that you are open and willing to doing differently in your interactions with others. Maybe that's asking more questions. Maybe that's using more I feel statements. Maybe that's talking less and listening more. Maybe it's initiating conversation with people that you wouldn't normally talk with, just to get to know them as human beings. Wherever you are willing to start, empathy and that change in the world starts with you. So I would encourage you to do what you can, where you can, when you can. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope that you'll get the notifications and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for upcoming videos on any and all topics related to mental health and well-being. I look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.